All right.
How are we doing?
Here again.
Once more into the breach, which someone clarified. It's a quote from Shakespeare.
Is it?
Henry V, I think. Yeah.
What do we think it was? Oh, it was when you. I thought it was when you were
something to do with the gun.
Your last fire, or firing, shooting at people.
It makes.
Not that I know anything about that.
It makes sense now. Like it's like the breach of a wall. So you
Ah.
breach the wall, and then it's like once more into the breach. You charge through it and get a big spike up your ass or something. I don't know.
Get some burning pig oil poured on your head.
All that barbaric crap that they used to do.
Yeah.
I think it's yeah. I'm going off topic already. We're not even got on topic
These are the best
yet,
bits.
but I'm reading a series called The War of the Roses, which is it's based on the historical events, the sort of 1500s, but it's like dramatized,
Right.
Really good.
Who wins?
Well, no one really. It sort of led to kind of
Still
these
going on in it.
pictures. Yeah. The Tudors one, really. That was the sort of the Lancaster and the York house. I haven't got this far yet, but I just know.
Don't spoil it for anyone who hasn't read it.
They kind of extinguished those lines, really, and then that's where the Tudors come from.
Right.
I know they eventually won, but it's interesting. It's just unreal, like that this stuff actually happened. The history and the stories and the.
Yeah,
it's just amazing.
Fascinating.
It is fascinating. Well, to me anyway, because I'm a sado. But
were you good at history at school? Did you like history?
I did.
I liked history too.
I did, but none of the other 40 kids in my class did. So it ended up just descending into chaos.
I always thought history was the best. I always thought history was one of the better lessons for me. Like I liked it. Didn't like geography. History and geography were kind of the same.
They are on a wavelength, aren't they?
In a way. But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
I was shit at the end of the day. I was shit at it all, and it meant nothing. So what does it matter?
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, does it? Because we're sat in here on
an old Chinese restaurant.
An old Chinese restaurant talking crap.
Yeah, about stuff we know nothing.
This is the Massive Wagons podcast. Talk about music industry kind of related stuff we get on within the band, and it's all our personal opinions, so don't
take it as gospel, will you?
Don't take it
take it and run with it.
We ain't here preaching.
Anything could happen.
Nah.
But yeah, today's topic actually came from a good friend of ours posted about it on Facebook. There's a rock band called Scam. Matt from Scam. Check him out. Great band.
Check
good
out
lads.
Scam.
Yeah, Matt. And off the top of my head, I can't remember what show he'd been to. But he'd been to a big show. He'd been to watch a big band, and he hadn't been. I think on the post ready, he hadn't been to watch a big show for a long time. So he'd been out of the loop, probably because he plays in his band a lot, and you don't get time. But he'd been to watch a band, and he was horrified at the fact that T-shirts were 40 quid at the merch. The merch stall there. 40 quid for a T-shirt.
Yeah, 40 quid. Yeah, that's
40 quid.
That's a lot.
Now I am a proper tight ass, me. Like, I wouldn't pay 40 quid for a T-shirt.
Old-fashioned tight ass.
I wouldn't pay 40 quid for a T-shirt in 10 million years. I don't give a fuck it's got written on it.
Yeah.
I'm an eBay 6 quid kind of guy.
Yeah, 40 quid.
40 quid.
So yeah, we're going to kind of discuss this week on maybe exploring its potential reasons why merch, and particularly live merch, merch at the gigs is so expensive, comparably to what it used to be.
Yeah.
Some things that people might not consider. I'm of the opinion that 40 quid for a T-shirt.
It's 40 quid, everyone. That's what he said.
That's whatever the circumstances. I think that's probably too much.
It's a little. That is a bit much, isn't it? I mean, do you expect to be honest, I'm terrible. I haven't bought a band T-shirt in years. I bought an odd one at festivals with been two bands I like, or like the design or whatever. But are they generally? I don't even know how our own prices compare online to live. But are they generally cheaper online? If you go to a band's website, are they generally the same price as at a show? I've never really noticed, to be honest.
I think. Well, this is one of the points really that I was going to get to, but. Live merch tends to be exclusive, doesn't it? And they do that intentionally. So if you want that T-shirt...
That's a good point, yeah.
If you want that T-shirt, you've got to pay 40 quid for it.
Yeah. To show you were there, like the tour.
Exactly. Well, it's that signposting thing, especially with rock and metal, isn't it? I was there, look.
Made in 81.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's in it.
and
Rare as Steve, that shirt.
so that's something they play on. But let's consider some of the reasons that have led to T-shirts being, if not 40 quid, just more expensive in general than they were. If it's not 40 quid, it's 25 is kind of, if you see a T-shirt for less than 25 at a gig, with a club kind of capacity gig plus, so a few hundred people and more. If you see one for less than 25 quid, then that's rare these days, isn't it?
25 quid is probably about what they are, isn't it?
Yeah, and well, for starters, some things that people might not really, well, it's just the cost of everything's gone up, hasn't it?
It has, yeah.
So the cost of making the T-shirts initially.
Yeah. Ink, the consumables used by the printer.
It all gets passed on.
It does.
Passed down, doesn't it? So
it does.
But, I guess that's obvious. And
I'm not entirely sure the war in Ukraine's got anything to do with it, has it?
No, yeah.
I don't think that's not viable.
The war in Ukraine, it's bloody COVID.
Yeah.
It's affected it.
Yeah, anyway, sorry.
In ink manufacturing, the screen prints have suffered. But, it's just one of them. That's just one of them things. Everything is more expensive. And there's no reason why the music and the live industry and all that kind of associated stuff hasn't been affected in exactly the same way. However, some things that people might not be considering is that this is all dependent. This isn't a one size fits all thing. However, you have to pay merch.
Might be a good idea. Then.
Merch. Well, yeah, that would be good, wouldn't it? Yeah. But if you have to pay a merch commission to the venue, this is something that, tends to surprise a lot of people who aren't aware of it.
It does.
And this is becoming increasingly common. And the percentage can vary. However, I think 15% is kind of like the standard. You always sort of see the 15% thing banded around.
Yeah,
However, there have been shows that we've done where it's been as high as 30%.
Yeah. The bigger the shows, the bigger the venues tends to be, in our experience.
The more clout they have.
The more commission you pay, yeah. And when for instance, when we did that short arena run, when the headline band are selling, I mean, for instance, we showed up to that. I remember showing up to Glasgow. I've mentioned this story before. We showed up to Glasgow, big eyes, looking at the venue. Wow, look at this! This is amazing. And we showed up in our van, and Skinner were there with like tens of Arctic trailers, and there are blokes in the back of these trailers hoying box after box after box of T-shirts out. Yeah. What do we have for the whole 4 days? 2 suitcases.
A few suitcases.
Suitcases. We were like that. Look like we're going on holiday. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
So you can only imagine the revenue from all those T-shirts sold every night.
Yeah, staggering.
It's unbelievable amount of money for a venue to take.
Well, I actually read doing a little bit of reading before this gig, before this podcast, this gig. I've discovered that the Travis Scott. Do you know who Travis Scott is? He's a singer.
Travis Scott. He's got to be a country singer.
No, he ain't. No, he's not. He's like R&B, hip hop.
Travis Scott.
I've honestly absolutely no idea. But he holds the record.
Drummer in Judas Priest, isn't he?
Yeah, he's Blink-182 fella, isn't it? He basically holds the record, I think, the UK record for the most merch revenue made in one night.
Really?
Which is $1 million. I think it made just under $1 million for a gig at the O2 Arena recently.
On a bike.
That's just merch, and that's 20,000 tickets sold. And each ticket, I think, was about 140 quid. So
just the guy.
Do some basic sums there. We're talking staggering amounts of money for one night.
You could just do one gig and knock it on the head.
Oh yeah, it's unreal.
Bloody hell!
Now I'm sure he didn't take all that because, like I said, let's assume that he was taking like a basic rate of 15%. The venue was made, off $1 million. 150 grand off the back of that, it's just unreal amounts of money being banded around.
Yeah, that's
and that's on top of all the bar revenue and just selling the tickets and
this whole before the cost of electric and fuel and stuff went up, because I mean these venues aren't going to be cheap to run, are they? You got to take that in mind. An arena ain't a cheap place to heat, is it, or or to clean or to supply with water, and they need a massive, they need a massive amount of money to keep these places open. But then before everything went through the roof a few years ago, the percentage. I mean, I don't know if the percentages, the revenue percentage they take has gone up since all the fuel prices went up, because it was certainly a thing before that happened anyway. So
yeah.
I don't know.
It is, like there's different aspects to it. I think he was selling T-shirts and exclusive T-shirts at that gig for like, 80, 100 quid. I know. Well, but this is it. People buy it, and it's, this is something that
Good grief.
10 years ago didn't really exist as much. Of course, merchandise has always been really important, but the emphasis on it now is where, because the diminishing returns of music, selling albums means, well, people have to cotton on to, this is where we generate our money now.
I saw an interesting comment on a Facebook post recently, and it was I looked at the guy's profile, and he was some sort of American producer. I don't know if he's big or anything, but he said you need to accept the fact that your songs are basically just PR for your shows.
Yeah.
They're basically an advert for your shows, and you're a glorified T-shirt seller. You're a market stall.
That's it. Yeah,
music is, your songs are just an advert.
That used to tour.
Crazy, isn't it?
Used to tour to promote albums. Now you
sell albums
to promote a tour.
It's crazy, isn't it? Completely switched around on it.
And record labels have cottoned onto this. So like they'll increasingly now insist on handling as much of an artist's merch as they can, because they know that that's a huge part of the revenue. So they do these things like 360 record label contracts, and I ethically don't agree with them, but they're out to do what they can and get what money they can. And it's up to bands and artists to be savvy enough to understand that.
Yeah, they need to survive, don't they? And
to remain strong.
But still, even though, and I mean, in some countries, Gary, our tour manager, has been around a long time, been all over the world, been all over Europe, certainly. He said a few of these European countries take like 40%, 45%. That's staggering. I know there was a big campaign recently, wasn't there? Tim Burgess from the Charlatans, and who else? I'm going to be wrong. It might have been Fish. I'm not sure. A few big names anyway, were certainly throwing heat on the this sort of campaign about taking bands, boycotting venues, or whatever they were saying, and letting people know, getting the word out there that these venues are taking massive parts of a band's, and we have to survive. Bands have to survive. We got ever increasing costs. You'd shaking your boots if you told you how much. Well, we're going to do another video about it, to be honest, so I'll save that. But if we were to tell you how much it cost us to put on just we're a small band. It was 2 weeks. What that cost to put on was astronomical. And when a venue is taking 25% of your merch sales, it's a massive dent in your wallet, isn't it?
Yeah, well, people want to know what the solution to this is, because I think that there's a point where you can become greedy. I say you become greedy if people are buying your T-shirts at whatever price, and the people are buying them. Why would from a business point of view, would you not just keep doing it? If people stop buying the merch at that price, they'll soon drop the prices. It's just the kind of people are, whether they're happy to or not, people do it. People buy the merch for them prices. But in the first place, they've only been driven so high, really, if we want to cut to the core of it, because band expenses rising all the time, but the fees aren't keeping up with that.
It's like everything, isn't it?
So your fee
is fucking like everything.
Yeah. So that's it. So bands are forced to bring more income from another side of it.
You have any choice, do you? It's the case, kind of, you're having your hand forced a little bit, aren't you? And believe me, well, it's certainly speak for us and me personally. I see the, we think, should we sell? This band had gone under years ago if I'd have been
just giving them away.
Oh, it's like, can we not sell them for a tenner? A tenner, and it's like, but we have to. If we want to survive, then we do pride ourselves on really striking that balance between surviving and absolutely not ripping fans off.
Yeah, well,
and trying our best to sort of give people a great quality product. And
well, our opinion of it really is like, well, all right, if we have to sell them for this price, make sure they have a back print, make sure they have it's a good quality design. We spend money on paying a good designer, making sure that the T-shirts themselves aren't
the stylish.
Well, so we like, well, if that's because at the end of the day, you want people wearing them as well. If you're going to buy them and they're crap, then
people want value for money, and that's what we want to give them. Absolutely. Definitely. But we did the. One example. I'm not blowing smoke up our own ass here or anything. This is just what we did. We did the budget T-shirt recently because we were like, people are paying everything in the nose for T-shirts. Let's see if we can do a T-shirt online for a tenner. Yeah, we limited it for 200, and I think people appreciated that, which was nice. But just got to try and navigate this merch. I mean, some hoodies is another one. I know it's kind of, if the T-shirt's 40 quid, that's already ridiculous. But T-shirts like £100. Hoodies like £100.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Wow.
I remember hoodies used to be 40 quid.
Yeah.
That used to be like, bloody hell. And now T-shirts are there, and then
I remember when I was in the Air Force, and but I went into a shop, and I think there was a T-shirt I wanted. It was about 13 quid. I was horrified at the time. This was a long time ago. But yeah, 40 quid, eh? Blimey. Yeah. But you got to think about as well. Are you playing into the hands of the touts outside? You know what I mean? Is there a balance?
Well,
exactly. It's difficult to find people's cut-off point with how much they'll stand for, or they'll just go, I'm not buying one from inside. Then you're losing a sale, aren't you?
Exactly.
Do you stack them high, keep them cheap, or do you sell them high and hope they all sell, or people are going to go outside? Because people can't afford, as the people were saying on Matt from Scam's post, fuel, hotels, beer, and a T-shirt. It's like, it's just £150 a night, innit? Whatever. Minimum.
Yeah. I mean, if you're putting people off buying anything altogether, then you'd be better off charging less, and those people would be buying something. If you're turning half of the people away because they just can't afford it. I mean,
it is a gamble. But
the last T-shirt I bought at a gig was I brought a Brad Paisley T-shirt for me missus, because it's like the guy comes over once every
once in a blue moon.
Never comes over, and it was like whatever. I'm just getting a T-shirt. So you get that. But then if you're following a band that are touring once, twice a year, it does become ridiculous.
It does, yeah.
Another thing as well, we encountered this, supported a band, and you have to price match as a support band. Part of the deal doesn't go in a contract or anything, but it's kind of like it's sort of heavily insisted upon.
Yeah, it's kind of part of the deal, isn't it,
to price match the headliner's price, so you can't undercut them. Now, I don't know. I know how I personally feel about that.
Me too.
But
fuck you.
It's not, So when you're the support band, you're playing for half an hour, and then your T-shirt's for 30 quid.
Yeah, because the headliner's T-shirt is 30 quid.
Because the headliner, and because you have to do that, and you're only allowed to sell one.
T-shirt one T-shirt,
and it's got to be that.
One or two table items maximum.
Well, one T-shirt, one table item. You encounter, well, not often, but they are out there, these bands that do insist on all these rules that are, again, just further designed to, well, all they're concerned about is they see that as you're a threat to their sales, and basically they don't want the people coming in spending the money that should, in their heads, going to them to us or to whoever instead.
I mean, I believe in a thing called fairness.
Yeah, I don't know. You just have to another line to toe. And when things are already stacked against you, you don't need that as a band. But that's it. It's dog eat dog kind of world out there. And if you want these opportunities, you've got to take them. You've got to take these opportunities and weigh the risks and weigh the kind of negatives of it. But yeah, I don't think. I like to think we'd never do that.
No. I like to think. I think we try and treat support bands with the utmost respect and be nice guys about it and understand where they're coming from. We understand that they've come from where we've come from, or they're not. They're doing the same things we've always done and have the same prices to pay. And Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm only bringing that up because I know that we got quite a lot of negative comments for that. Have you seen how much Wagons are selling their T-shirts for? On this tour, 30 quid, 30 bloody quid. And it's like just so people are aware, it isn't always as immediately kind of. It's not all about greed, and it's not all about like
absolutely not.
There's so many things that go on behind the scenes, when it comes to setting the prices. However, I do believe there is a threshold for like where you just become greedy. If you've got a stadium full of people, like you said, like you were mentioning about Skinner, it just becomes about everyone's wanting more money. This is all about money. It really is.
Yeah, of course.
None of it's about good feelings and the artistry or anything like that. It's all about money. And so you've got and sadly the band have absolutely, and the band members have absolutely no say in any of this.
No.
There's so many in-betweens between us sitting here and writing a song, people coming, buying a ticket to the gig. So many people are in between that, and
imagine a band as big as Skinner and these huge bands. They just get to a point in their career where they are in a hotel, they get in a car, drive to the venue, sing the songs, go back to the bed or whatever they do.
Have a few steaks,
yes,
in catering,
shoot a few cans off a few walls,
have a few buffalo wings,
but
shoot a few cans off a few walls
or whatever. Spit in a few buckets.
Yeah.
Wrestle a few gators, I'll shoot up.
Yeah, wrestle a few gators, yeah.
I know. But no, and they have no idea. They have no idea they have no idea or interest probably in the price of T-shirts. Or, they trust their tour managers, their merch guys, stage managers to have this shit ironed out because they don't want to get involved in it.
They don't. They're not interested. They're just...
And rightly so.
Yeah, I can't see it changing anytime soon. To be honest,
I don't think they're going to go down, are they? But I remember a few years ago. Correct me if you've heard or differently, but I know Wasp Blackie, they cancelled a string of dates. I think in the UK
out of principle
because of that, because of the merch commission thing. That's what I heard. Fair. However you think about that, I think he stood up for himself there and made a stand against it. And I think that's pretty.
Yeah, well, I mean,
pretty admirable and a bit of a bold move, really.
It is, and just sadly, I think the only people that would have lost out there was them.
Well, that's what I mean. That he will have lost out, and then fans will have lost out.
Now, if that's kind of done en masse, I'm not advocating this, by the way, but if it's a kind of mass protest. From a band's point of view, and just almost like a sort of band strike, it's like, well, we're not touring then. If we're not going to do it, we won't fill your venues full of people if you're going to insist on these ridiculous things. We're not getting 15% of the bar,
No,
it's a completely one-way street. Now, the only thing you can do, and the only thing you really have control of now, is to drive your fee as high up as possible, and then, which obviously that goes without saying, but it doesn't really, like we said, we'll talk about this in another episode, but the costs of touring now, even modestly, staggeringly high. It is unreal. And T-shirts is a way of, it's a simple equation. It's like, well, we're selling something there, just make that price up.
Put that price up.
Yeah.
I mean, some bands you hear some bands do the old selling the T-shirts down the road thing, don't they? In the boozer, that's been done a number of times. Don't sell them in the venue. Sell them down the road or across the road at the pub, or sell them at the van out the back of after the gig.
It's crap though. You end up having to,
Oh, it's awful. That's awful.
You have to do that.
The logistic. The fact that you have to do it. Yeah. But saying to people, oh yeah, well they're down the road at the pub and people just go home and
it's just like
you miss out on sales and it's just not convenient, is it?
It shouldn't be like this, should it?
It shouldn't be like this.
It's just like people with control and the upper hand
want more,
exerting more and more pressure and like record labels now, mentioned it before, but they're realizing, well, this is a massive income. It's an income that they've previously not really kind of had much to do with, and it's becoming more and more. So Sony, I believe, have they've kind of invested in a company called Ceremony of Roses, and who do like
That's gone full circle right back to your book, hasn't it?
yeah, they do like they do like Adele, and you know, like this is a record label investing in this sector, and again, I don't know how I feel about it really. It's kind of weirds me out a bit. And then you've got like there's a massive one. I think one of the biggest in the world is a company called Bravado. They're out in LA, and they do like Billie Eilish, you know, Rolling Stones, you know, The Weeknd, crazy kind of massive stuff. And you see these t-shirts. How many Rolling Stones t-shirts do you see about? You know, they're in
Billions.
Primark. You know,
Oh yeah. Well, I think a lot of the I don't know this for a fact, but I think after bands go on tour, any excess stock gets sold to people like Primark. Because I've been in Primark looking at t-shirts and found after I'd been to watch DC down in London, bought a t-shirt, and then months later I saw the same t-shirt.
Oh really?
In Primark.
Same one. Wow.
So I'm only assuming that these companies strike a deal with Primark and stuff and say any excess stock.
Yep.
You know, you see Def Leppard, a lot of Def Leppard t-shirts in Primark and stuff, but they're official ones in Primark. But you're there, not in Primark. Sorry, I do apologise. What's what's the shop in town next to the museum?
TK Maxx.
TK Maxx. Sorry, I do apologise. Yeah, TK Maxx is where I've seen the official like t-shirts.
I don't know how
you go
they
in Primark and they have the license. They look like they've licensed the logo and stuff, and it's like
I think TK Maxx. I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about here, but just because they've got so many random brands.
That's right.
TK Maxx is. It must be almost like a private sort of dealership. You know, they just like buy this random stuff, and they must have like people out there looking for. Oh, go on, let's have a few boxes of that.
I think so. Yeah,
and then
like
a few boxes of that, and then you know.
DC have come off tour and they've got all these t-shirts. We'll have all them and we'll sell them on. Yeah, I think that's right. But Primark, you're right. Sorry. Yeah, I think companies like that license the logo and stuff and just print them on whatever they want, don't they? It's a random.
I'm assuming those deals are kind of done where it's like there's a kind of like a figure up front, and it's like and then once that kind of sum of money goes to the owners of the logo and the copyright or whatever, they can then make an X amount of things and distribute. However, it's kind of like it's not like every time a Rolling Stones t-shirt is sold in Primark, Mick Jagger's getting a oh Keith, we've got another
Keith sold another one. Ching ching.
How fucking much? And so I don't know, but back to the gig merch. You know, it's just an ever kind of increasing side of the industry, and like you said, it's not going anywhere, and I don't think they're getting cheaper.
Well, bands are making zero money out of music. They're gonna have to make money other ways, or else you can kiss goodbye to some of your favourite bands. You know,
kiss goodbye.
Hey,
yeah.
They've made some brass, haven't they?
Yeah. Well, there you go. There's an outfit that have absolutely cornered that market. I remember seeing Gene Simmons on. Why do we always end up talking about Kiss? It always comes back to Kiss.
They're an interesting band, aren't they?
I remember seeing Gene Simmons on something like the One Show, and he said, this is at like 5:30 or whatever on a Tuesday, and they're talking about their merch, and he's going, yeah, well, we sell everything from condoms to coffins. We get you coming and we get you going.
He's always said.
And he was one of them, like, moving on. You could just see, like, and then you could just hear the producers whispering in their earpiece, get him off.
Go to the Yorkshire Terriers. Go to the Yorkshire Terriers.
cut to the Chelsea Flower Show or something. I don't know. But yeah, the t-shirts. That's it. Just, I guess if you're going to take anything away from this podcast, it's kind of like just it isn't always just about greed. It isn't always just about bands being greedy. There is a bit more to it, and whether it's right or wrong, that is just the reality. You know,
probably the same for ticket prices in a lot of ways.
Yeah, exactly. Pay. I think you just need to pay everyone a bit fairer, and then this crap like this wouldn't happen. And that's not only exclusive to music, is it? That's everything.
No, absolutely.
So yeah, thanks for listening.
Yeah, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Sorry we can't help you.
Yeah, sorry.
Job's fucked. You're looking for answers. Sorry, there isn't any.
Tough shit.
It is what it is. Yeah, please.